Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with today's trading action. All right, now back to a bit of fundamentals, right? We've got the Fed Chairman Powell in his testimony to Congress, really saying that there's no need to ease interest rates at the moment, given the strong economy, right? And that has really given the dollar, excuse me, a bit of a strong presence as we sort of come into the CPI release, right? You usually get a bit of uh, position squaring ahead of the CPI. There's a few odd moves, right? It's like they're getting out of the safe haven trade, right? Dollar Swiss and dollar yen going up. It's very strange to see euro going up and dollar Swiss going up and sterling. Okay, Aussie just trickling higher, as is the Kiwi. Dollar CAD a little bit lower. So it looks a little bit hard to see, but what the Fed Chairman Powell, if I could just get that out, is sort of talking about its interest rates, right? So anytime the Fed is speaking, keep an eye on the US Treasury yields, and they are a little bit higher, especially the long dated bonds, right? So the 10, 20, 30 year a little bit higher gives the dollar a little bit of strength. Overall, NASDAQ was off a bit. We had a bit of a risk off day. Euro, sterling, Aussie, Kiwi drifting lower. Now it's sort of discombobulating as you would expect in the lead up to, almost this month's big event, which is the obviously the US CPI numbers. Now let's just go through this. Right now on the live trade hub, you can find a few updates. The focus of what the best instrument trending at the moment has changed. Right, dollar yen. It looks like a buy for all money. We get strong US numbers, right? It's going to be one of the targeted instruments for sure. Dollar CAD, although it's just trickling lower on the short term momentum, long term and long term momentum all heading higher, suggests to me we should be looking to buy dollar CAD there as well, right? Now, I'll be updating this ahead of the US CPI numbers. For those traders who haven't seen the updates to the live trade hub, I'll be doing a live trade on this release. And that is obviously if there's an opportunity, right? If there's no variance in the numbers, then there won't be any trades. But let's just see how it goes. Now, one key thing about the US CPI numbers, the minimum expectation for the year on year range has dropped to 2.5%. That was at 2.7% previously. That was updated today, right? So that's very important because when it comes time to sort of working out, should we be selling or buying? If we hadn't updated this to 2.5, you might get a 2.6 read and start selling US dollars when in actual fact, it's not below the bottom end of the range, right? So that's something to keep an eye on. Now, the best setups as we lead into the US CPI numbers, I will be updating that as we approach, probably within the hour before the release, just to get into tune with where the potential best opportunities are, right? As we go into that release, the most important aspect you need to know is the minimum and maximum range, obviously for the month on month. More importantly, the year on year, 2.5 to 3. Now, Fed Chairman Powell has just come out and said no need to cut rates, right? Because the economy is strong. That means if we get stronger numbers or consistent, like the actual number, 2.9 or above 3%, the dollar's going to continue higher, right? Fundamentally. If it's weaker, well, it puts a bit of a cloud over what he said yesterday and yesterday's move. So we should see the dollar retrace some of those moves from yesterday. All right. So that's the way it's going to work. I'll run you through bits and pieces of that in the lead up to the release. Primetime Pro analysis. If you want to have a look through, you can see what we had yesterday was a bit of discombobulation on the dollar pairs, and sterling and Kiwi were firing. Today, the picture is a little bit different, right? And this is just because we've had a mix of geopolitical events. We've had some core fundamentals, which would be the power component. And so at the moment, dollar Swiss is not far off kicking into a buy zone as well. So the dollar on the back of Powell looks like a buying opportunity. We just need the CPI numbers to fit into this picture, and you're going to have trades pretty much across the board on the dollar. And that's where the cash is going to be, right? And you've got a couple of pairs here that are currently going up. Aussie's caught up in this aluminium steel tariff in the States. If they get an exemption, it gives the Aussie an underlying bid tone. So maybe not a good one to be selling. We'll see how the rest of them shape up as we get closer to those CPI numbers. All right, guys, plenty to play for. Don't forget the live sessions. As I mentioned, US inflation numbers, chance for everyone to see how we approach a trading opportunity, and a good one for the learning curve. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.